Hey everyone, it's CL. Thank you everyone who commented on my last video. If you have any questions, continue to leave them in the comment section and I will gather up all those questions and respond to them in a different video. So for today's video, I was actually a little bit hesitant to make the video because I essentially took 2 L's in a row. So not only did I get a pretty bad wholesale box, I made another purchase directly after and took another L. So with every experience that I have, I try to learn from that. So when I received that wholesale box in my last video, I made a new rule going forward: no more mystery boxes, because you really have no control over what you're going to get. So now that we are introduced to this WhatNot app, I was like, okay, let me browse these auctions. If anything, I can control how much I'm gonna spend on each item. I can see what's being sold because it's live and they show you the item. So in a sense, I felt more comfortable participating in these auctions because I felt like I knew what I was going to get. So one day I was browsing clothing auctions. I jump into one of these live auctions. It only has 6 people in it. And in my mind, I thought this was like a really great strategy. Like, you have a better opportunity at getting things for a lower price because there's less people in there who are gonna bid you up. So in my mind, I think this is a brilliant strategy. So in this auction, I end up buying a handful of things and I come away feeling really, really good about it. I had felt that I got such amazing deals because I was getting things for like $2. Like, there was a new with tags Nike Polo for $2 and I thought it was a no-brainer. I buy the shirt, I would absolutely get more than double my money. So I make this purchase and the purchase finally arrives. Now when I take everything out of the box and I examine it, it looks really great at first because there's no damage to any items. The things that they said were new with tags were new with tags. And every piece initially looked really great. Everything looked like what was showed in the live auction. So it wasn't until I started prepping the items to list them, that second look is where I start to see that some things are not right. And then I start to put it together like, okay, I see why this person was selling this for $2. So with these live auctions, they go by so fast. You have like 30 seconds or a little bit over 30 seconds. And when it goes by so fast, you might not catch all the little details. So where I went wrong with this purchase is that I didn't correlate certain things that I saw. I didn't make the correlation that something wasn't right in that 30 seconds that I had to bid on the item. So what I mean by that, a handful of the things that I purchased at a low price, majority was $2, but some were a little bit more than $2. There were a few things that were modified, like added embroidery. So in this next clip, I'll show you the items that were modified. So I picked up this shirt. I actually really like the print. This cost me $2. I like the angel wings and felt that it would be something that would sell quite easily. So the braiding on the side I did see during the auction, but I had made the assumption that it came this way. And then when I received it in person, I realized that this was modified. So you see right underneath the armpit, there is this large hole because this is where they cut the shirt to start the braid. And on the end of the shirt, you can see where they try to sew it in place, because if they didn't sew it in place, it's going to unravel. And this was definitely done by someone that doesn't know how to sew because it was a messy sew job. And because they added the braids on the side, it made the shirt go into like a V shape. So even though the shirt is a size large, depending on the person's body type, it might not fit them well. Like for some people it will fit perfectly, but for other people the way it's tapered might not fit them very well. So that's a little bit of a downside. So this next item is really embarrassing because it seems so obvious now in hindsight. This is a Nike Polo. I thought I would absolutely be able to more than double my money. And during the auction, I did see these embroideries. It has a boat propeller on the front. It has some writing on the back and a patch on the left arm. And I think in my mind, I kind of convinced myself that maybe Nike did some sort of collab. But in hindsight, I realize now that someone added these embroideries. And here's the underside of the embroideries. It looks very unfinished. Like, I don't know a lot about embroidery, but should this be cleaned up? Like, you would cut off the excess white part of the patch? I don't know, but I would think that like if somebody wore this, would that be itchy and uncomfortable if they were to wear this? So here is a Nike Golf sweater vest. where it has a very, very small embroidery, but I don't really know what that embroidery means, if it means anything. To me, when I look at that little image there, it looks like some grass that some Pokemon would jump out of, but I really don't know. I just kind of want to sell these things quickly so I don't have that constant reminder that yet again I took another L and I made another mistake. Like, how many mistakes am I going to make in 1 week? All right, for this next section, you definitely want to get a pen and paper because I'm going to list out some rules that you definitely need to implement before you start jumping on this app and start making purchases. So the first rule is, before you even open the app, go in with a budget. So have a set amount that you're willing to spend a week, and once you hit your budget, don't even open the app. I just so happened to jump into one of the Pokemon auctions. The first comment that I saw when I jumped into this auction was a person that said, that's the last one I'm gonna bid on because I'm already over budget. 2 more like auction cycles passed, and on the next one, I saw him bid again. Just 1 more and then I'm done for the night. As you can see, like, participating in these auctions can be very addicting, especially when you're in an auction and the chat is really hyping things up and getting excited. You want to make sure that you're not going into debt because you're going way past your budget, getting caught up in the moment. So the next rule is stick with what you know. In the auctions, you're going to see a lot of cool things, and I came across a lot of sports memorabilia, sports t-shirts, sports jerseys, and I was trying to run comps on them and I just wasn't sure. I'm like, is this a good athlete? Is this a good team? Is this person popular? And at one point, a wrestling t-shirt was brought up. And in the comments, people were saying, oh, that's a really nice shirt. That shirt's really cool. And I was trying to look up comps. I thought the seller said the wrestler was Lex Luthor, like the villain from Superman. So on eBay, I'm looking for comps under Lex Luthor. And then I realized they said Lex Luger, the wrestler. So that was a pretty blatant reminder to me to stick with what I know. And I know nothing about sports, so I just need to stay away from those types of things. So this next one is very, very important. So when you jump on the WhatNot app, please remember that this is an app full of hustlers. No one is here to be your friend. Every single person on this app is here to make money. So don't think like someone's giving you a special deal because they like you, because you're now friends, that you have some sort of camaraderie. So if you were to jump into an auction and the seller is telling you what things are comping for, they're saying things like, you're never gonna see this shirt again, this is really rare, this is really nice, I might keep this for myself because I'm not sure if I really want to sell it. That seller is trying to upsell you, and you need to put them on mute and like put in headphones and listen to music. Don't let anybody in your head and convince you to purchase things at a higher price or purchase things that you wouldn't normally purchase. So be very wary of sellers and them trying to upsell you. You are on an app full of hustlers. Don't forget that. Okay, so for the next item, if you are in an auction and there's multiple auctions going on at the same time, chances are you're going to jump in and out of various auctions. You want to make sure that you're keeping track of what you're buying and with who. So some sellers are really good. When they put things up for auction, there's a little picture next to it. So when you make your purchase, there's a picture associated with each item that you bought. But at the same time, there are a lot of auctions where the seller just created like a placeholder. Maybe each item will say like T1, T2, T3, and then where the picture would go, it's just a black box. You want to make sure that you write down what items you're winning, and especially if you're jumping from auction to auction to auction, I honestly recommend that you record your session so you have record of what you bought and with who, because it's happening so fast. So next rule that I think you should implement is, if you are able to buy something retail arbitrage new with tag for about the same price that you're seeing them auctioned off for on this app, don't purchase it. Do retail arbitrage. Don't buy something used when you can get it for new with tags. That seems like an obvious one, but I think it's, once again, don't get caught up in buying things off of the auction site. And the last rule that I think you should consider implementing is that when you make your first purchase, don't buy anything at $8 shipping. Buy something like a t-shirt for your first item, because that shipping starts at $4, and then everything you purchase after will be $1. Don't spend extra money on shipping up front. So those are the things I'm implementing for myself going forward. But one thing I do want to point out before I end this video, with the WhatNot app, there are some really good things that come along with the app. So the first really cool thing that I experienced is that you have the ability to source items in places you would have never had the chance to go to. I jumped in one of these auctions where this guy, he was in Georgia at a vintage pop-up shop, and he would just walk around and show all the vendors what the vendors had. He would ask the chat what shirt they would like, and then he would purchase it, and then he would auction it off to the people in his live. And I thought that was really cool because I would have never had the chance to go to Georgia and go to this pop-up. As he was walking around, it kind of felt like you were there a little bit. And I got to see all these cool vendors, and you get to see all these really cool vintage shirts that I have never come across before. Another really cool thing when it comes to the app is that you can learn a lot from these sellers. There have been many auctions that I've jumped into where they're auctioning the item, but they're also having like a really good conversation. There's one seller, I'll list his name on the screen, where he will go thrifting during the day. He'll come back and auction them off, and at the end of his auction, he will tell you how much he spent thrifting it, how much he made selling it, and he gives you like that insight of like how much he made a day just auctioning things off of this app. He talks about everything. He talks about his business, how he started, where he wants to go in the future. If people have questions, he'll answer questions. So sometimes it is really beneficial just to sit in and listen to the conversation and not necessarily buy anything. So I know one of the rules that I mentioned was stick with what you know, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should stop learning. I was in an auction with a guy who specialized in vintage band tees, and like every shirt that he went through, he would show the tag and he would talk about the tag. And he would talk about what era it was from. He would talk about the band and the history of the band and where they're popular and stuff like that. So just listening to the conversation of these more experienced people can really help you learn new things. So with that, my battery is about to die. I think that's a good ending point for this video. So let me know what you think down in the comments below if you're going to purchase from WhatNot and your experience. So other than that, if you want to see more from me, please like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.